ladies and gentlemen, folks, trash pandas, trash.
Oh, trash pandas! I like that.
Yeah, well, my logo is is a couple of raccoons sticking out of a.
I never knew that.
You never seen the logo?
I should look at it up close.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, man.
If you listen to the pod, it's I mean, it's the show like logo.
Trash pandas. That's a cute name for the audience.
That is a good name. Yeah,
I like it.
Yeah. Steve did that logo.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah. His lasting contribution since he's MIA.
Can we get some stickers?
We could do that.
I would love a Let's Get Trash Pod sticker.
For real?
Yeah.
Where would I put those?
Everywhere, dude.
To start spamming Austin with Let's Get Trash Pod stickers?
I mean, I need one on my Hydro Flask for sure. That's why I want it.
All right. I wish I could get 5 stickers made.
Well, or one.
Well, I mean, I would use a couple, but
yeah,
I can give you fucking 800 Luke and the Lonely stickers if you want them.
You have that many?
Doggy.
I'll take one.
Yeah.
Why do you have so many?
Because we got a bunch of free stickers and T-shirts, and then the band broke up fucking weeks later.
Ain't that the way, dude?
I have 2 boxes full of T-shirts in my bedroom.
Dang.
That I need to just take somewhere and give them away, but
yeah.
I don't know. I've been using...
Well, what you could do is you could go on Facebook, type in the search engine, you type in Luke, and then everyone named Luke, you just message them, and you say, hey, do you want a shirt with your name on it? Like for money.
Why? Nobody would...
You're saying nobody, but it could be a numbers game. If you messaged 1 million Lukes, you think you wouldn't get a response? You think you wouldn't sell one shirt?
Not for like a band. When the band existed, we couldn't sell shirts to literally our fans.
Were you DMing people?
No.
See?
I was not.
Something to think about.
I did enough work for that ensemble. Our other shirts are actually even better because they're not they don't have the band name. They just have like the name of a song. But
what's the song?
My Baby Loves Heavy Metal.
That's a cute name.
It's a great song, and the shirt is really good because it has it's the rock and roll sign inside of a heart.
Familiar?
Inside of a heart.
Yeah,
it's a really well done shirt. My friend Sarah did the design. Our singer,
shout out Sarah.
Shout out Sarah Nuttall, who has a lot of artwork. Go check out her Redbubble page. Sarah Lou something. Sarah Lou 22 probably.
Sarah Lou.
Yeah,
I love that name.
Really?
I love when a middle, like my name, Jimmy D.
Jimmy D.
It just rolls off the tongue.
Jimmy D does roll off the tongue.
It just rolls off. I love a name that rolls off the tongue. What's your middle name, Nick?
D.
Nick D, and I had no idea this whole time?
My middle name is David.
Nicky D.
Nicky D.
Dude, I'd had no idea all this time.
Nick Dave.
Yeah. I do call you Nicky when I'm not around you. I'm like, I'm going to Nicky's.
You know what? A lot of people, I mean, when I used to play only salsa bands, like back in the day when I was playing a lot of like salsa in San Antonio and stuff, I'm friends with all these old Puerto Rican guys. They would all call me Nicky.
Yeah. It has a little bit more finesse.
It's got a charm to it.
Yeah, it's got a charm to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
So what movie are we talking about?
If you're interested in stickers or T-shirts from a defunct musical ensemble, hit me up on Twitter at Nick Tazzo, Instagram at Nick Tazzo Drums, because I can give that to you. And if you like and share and subscribe this, if you give me a reason to make Let's Get Trashed Pod stickers, I will make them.
I think we should. I think if we get 20 likes on this episode, I think we should make stickers.
20? You're going to commit me to a fucking paying for stickers for 20 likes?
What's the number? What's your number?
1 million.
Okay. I was like, I can get us 20 likes.
You can get us 20 likes? You know what? Let's start there. Let's see, folks, if Jimmy D can get us
20 likes on this episode.
On what we do on YouTube?
Well, I'm on it, dude.
20 likes on YouTube.
Yes.
All right. You're on.
And then you make stickers?
No, then I'll take you seriously.
What? So rude. So, all right, dude.
All right.
Just see what happens now that you made that comment.
Let's see what happens. You know what? Folks, I would love an overwhelming pressure campaign to acquiesce to Jimmy's demands.
I love stickers, man. I'll do anything. anything.
I love stickers. Jimmy, remind the folks at home how old you are.
I'm 30 years old, dude. Dude, you can love stickers forever. Did you know that?
I'm hearing it now for the first time, as I assume I assume most of my listeners are.
When did you stop loving stickers?
I don't think I ever gave a shit about stickers, to be honest.
And that's the difference between us.
As a kid, I don't remember caring about stickers. I genuinely don't.
I love a good sticker.
What kind of stickers should they make for the Matrix 4?
I would say a sticker that keeps you blue-pilled. Whatever item, or if you put then you can have a red pill option. If you put that sticker on your refrigerator, it just looks like a Matrix refrigerator.
We're talking about the Matrix Resurrections,
and that's just off the cuff.
This is just off the cuff. Matrix 4, the legacy sequel. That's what we're calling sequels that come many years after the original.
Did you make that up, or is that a thing?
That's a thing. I did not make that up. I didn't hear that term until Top Gun came out. This is Let's Get Trash Top Gun Corner.
Yep.
That was the first film I ever heard of referred to as a legacy sequel. It's again a sequel to a long. You know what movie? You know what might be the first ever legacy sequel made? Was The Two Jakes.
What the fuck is that?
That was a sequel to Chinatown. Produced by and starring Jack Nicholson. That movie came out in like the 90s, so 20 years after Chinatown.
Oh, I didn't know about that one.
I'm unfamiliar with any other, I can't think of anything older.
Space Jam 2.
That's not
Avatar
older.
2.
That's not older.
20 years older, not
I'm talking
in the span of time.
I'm talking about older. They made a movie in the 70s called Chinatown.
Oh, that's the first legacy
They made a movie in the early 90s called The Two Jakes, starring the same character as a direct sequel to a film that's been out forever. I don't know, you know what I mean? I don't know if did they make a sequel to the fucking is there a sequel to a Charlie Chaplin film that came out in the 60s to a 20s movie? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know what was the first time that, did they make a sequel to Wizard of Oz in the 70s?
That would have never worked.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah.
So, off the top of my head, The Two Jakes is the first legacy sequel. I'm air quoting if you're not watching. That's the first legacy sequel I can think of. But anyway, this falls Matrix Resurrections, Matrix 4.
Well, it's probably the first legacy sequel to a trilogy.
No, because they had already done Star Wars.
Yeah, but that's true. And The Hobbit did Lord of the Rings, which was like a legacy prequel.
I mean, yeah, that doesn't really count though, because that's like
already written.
Yeah, that all existed as like books. It was just adaptations of pre-existing books. You know what I mean?
I'm learning a lot.
They just happened to make the Lord of the Rings before they made the Hobbit books for whatever reason. Which thank God, those Lord of the Rings movies are good.
They are good.
The Hobbit movie, I never watched the Hobbit movie. I never read the book. I never read any of those books because they're unreadable.
I read it every night before bed.
You read The Hobbit every night before bed?
The Lord of the Rings.
The Lord of the Rings?
Yeah. It's a great book.
He's lying to you, everybody.
I swear to God.
I'm borderline sure Jimmy can't even read. Much less reading The Lord of the Rings every night.
Do you
really?
Yeah, I love Lord of the Rings.
You love that book.
I love that book. I love the trilogy.
You love that book. Well, obviously the movies are great. The movies are
good.
The movies are beautiful and well made and made with such care. They look great because it's so real and everything.
Yeah, they're incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you actually read those books?
I do. Yeah.
You read them frequently.
I read every night. So, well, I just happen to be reading Lord of the Rings for the second time now.
Only for the second time.
Yeah. I typically read some sort of fantasy series, and I've read most of them before I go to sleep. It puts me in a nice dream state.
Oh, so it's not you read fantasy before you go to bed, not Lord of the Rings all the time.
I would say all the time. I've been reading it for years, for at least a year and a half now, because I only get 1 or 2 pages before I go to sleep.
Yeah, you're only on your second time through. If you had told me I've read Lord of the Rings 15 times, I always read I always read some of it.
Well, I do read Lord of the Rings every night, so that statement is true, but not forever since I was born.
Okay.
So how far back are we going?
If you're doing the Lord of the Rings 1 word a day program, I can't express to you how much that doesn't fucking count.
I would say a page and a half, but probably not quite a page and a half because iPhone shrinks a page if you think about it. So it probably puts maybe
you're reading it on your phone?
Yeah, so maybe a few paragraphs. I don't get very far, but I do read it in detail because I always go back a page and read. How deep do you want to get into this?
I want to keep going because here's I've diagnosed a problem already.
Okay.
Get books on paper.
Okay.
Because if you're trying to read at night to like help you go to sleep, iBooks, which is what I read on, also it's bad. First of all, blue light is bad for you.
Yep.
Blue light fucks you up. It makes it hard. It's bad for your eyes. It's harder to sleep.
I go to sleep very quickly.
Yeah, you're not sleeping as well as you could be. I'm here to fix your sleep. I'm the sleep doctor.
Okay.
I'm Dr. Sleep.
Okay.
Another movie. Another legacy sequel.
Another legacy sequel. You tied it back.
All right, we're done talking about this. Okay. The Matrix 4, everybody.
Okay.
So I guess this is technically Matrix 4 came out a little while ago. So are we doing a Let's Get Trashed in the Can episode? Is that what we're doing right now?
I mean, it's your call. I feel like it came out this last year. Came out in 2021, right?
Yeah, and it's currently on streaming, but it is not a new release.
It's in this. It's fading out of the zeitgeist. Maybe has faded out of the zeitgeist.
Oh, I think it faded quickly.
Yeah, it faded.
Did you care? I mean, you obviously watched it when it came out.
Yeah.
How much did you give a shit at the time?
I was so excited for this movie, man.
You were excited when it came out.
I was.
You were excited before it came out. After you watched it, how long did it stay with you?
I wanted to black it out of my brain.
Ooh, really?
Yeah, I didn't love it, dude.
Well, didn't love it and wanting to remove it from your memory, that's a lot harsher.
I was disappointed.
Didn't love it, or you hated everything about it, or what's
I
up?
didn't hate everything about it.
Okay.
It had the potential to be good up to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was bad for many reasons.
Okay.
So we can talk about spoilers. This movie's been out.
This movie's been out for a while. You know what? It is an In the Can episode. Audience already knows it's an in the can episode because they heard me do Let's Get Trashed. It's in the can at the top of the episode.
Boom.
So they know before I know that it's in the can.
And maybe this will give people some closure because it's okay to not like this movie. Wait, did you like this movie?
I liked it.
You did?
I liked it all right.
Okay.
I liked it.
It didn't disappoint you at all.
I mean, disappointing is a tough way to think about stuff because I didn't have any high expectations for it.
Okay.
I'll give you where I'm coming from. I love The Matrix. 1999.
I did too.
1999 is the best year for movies. 1999 is the best year for movies ever.
Okay.
The Matrix is a small part of that. There's so many great movies came out in 99.
What else?
Oh, God damn it, dude.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to call you out, but I just was excited to hear about
you're right.
what other movies.
You're right. Let me pull it up real quick. It's very accessible information.
Well, let me talk about my love for The Matrix while you're looking that up.
Do it.
As anyone who has probably seen the original Matrix, I mean, what an eye-opening dimension that comes out when Neo awakens up in the Matrix. I mean, what a mind-blowing thing, right? So you have this like otherworldly experience of a universe that it takes place meta outside of a simulation. Like this is what like I feel like simulation theory now is based off of. Like this movie is like almost philosophical in nature. Like the trilogy is like incredible, and it's great.
The trilogy is not great.
I liked that. I liked it.
2 and 3 are bad. Let's talk 1999.
Go for it.
All right, obviously The Matrix,
mm-hmm. Okay.
Magnolia, American Beauty,
mm-hmm.
Fight Club,
amazing.
Green Mile,
amazing.
Eyes Wide Shut, Being John Malkovich.
Don't remember it.
Big Daddy.
Great movie.
Cruel Intentions.
Yes.
Girl Interrupted. Man on the Moon.
Yep. Great film.
American Pie.
Yes. First movie I think I probably saw boobies in. Pretty sure.
Deep Blue Sea, Double Jeopardy,
Scared of Sharks because of Deep Blue Sea,
10 Things I Hate About You, Varsity Blues, Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Hilarious movie. Quoted it constantly with my friends.
South Park, Bigger, Longer, and Uncut.
Beautiful.
Boondock Saints.
Great movie. Saw it 10 years later.
The Mummy.
My favorite movie in the world.
For Love of the Game.
Yep. That was a great year.
Entrapment.
Holy shit.
Office Space.
Saw that 10 years later.
Blast from the Past.
Yep.
Never Been Kissed.
Story of My Life.
Deuce Bigelow, Male Gigolo. That's a funny one.
Funny for me at the time as a child.
Wild Wild West. Star Wars The Phantom Menace.
Oh, great.
Bowfinger. Damn, I forgot about Bowfinger. I already said Green Mile. The 13th Warrior. Damn, doggy. I forgot about that. This Means Nothing to Me, but Stuart Little, Iron Giant.
Stuart Little. Our favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie.
Stuart Little?
Yeah.
That's not him, is it?
Yeah. We've talked about this.
I've never watched it. Mystery Men. That's funny.
I loved Mystery Men.
Toy Story 2. Disney's Tarzan.
Love Tarzan.
Let's see. Anything else good on this list? The Sixth Sense. Came out.
Our second favorite M. Night Shyamalan movie.
No, that's literally the only good one. 1999. Here's a bunch of Disney shit that doesn't count. Sweet and Lowdown, the Woody Allen movie. She's All That. I already said Varsity Blues.
That's a lot of movies, dude.
I mean, and
Was that the movie Golden Era?
I'm skipping. It's the best year for movies. I'm skipping stuff that sucks too, or stuff I've never heard of that probably sucks.
The Mummy, though.
Three
The Mummy.
Kings. What else is? I feel like there's more like.
So that's when the first Matrix came out,
1999,
and The Mummy came out in the same year.
Yeah, dude.
Holy shit! Dude.
1999 is the best year for movies. The Buena Vista Social
and
Club
Stuart
documentary.
Little.
The Buena Vista Social Club documentary came out. That's the documentaries. Here we go. Action movies, Mummy. A very bad James Bond movie, The World Is Not Enough. I already said Entrapment, but that one's good.
Yeah.
Catherine Zeta-Jones going through the laser beams. That was sick.
I don't remember that.
Let's see what else. Yeah, everything else is bad, but I've listed a lot. 1999 was a big year, dude.
And you were watching these movies on VHS. Let's be honest.
Yeah, you know what? Movies were better when they had to be on VHS.
Yeah.
It's editing. The movie can't be longer than 99 minutes because we can't fit it. Blair Witch Project was 1999.
Ooh, I was never allowed to watch that.
Never?
No, dude. Even to this day.
Even to this day. Remind the people at home how old you are, Jimmy.
30! I turned 31 August 16th, and I'll be doing something obviously very fun.
Cool. Runaway Bride. I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of shit. Office Space. Analyze This, which people don't like, but I loved.
I love Analyze This, and I love Analyze That.
Yeah.
Two of my favorite movies.
Okay, well, that's bad. But the first,
they're so good.
They shouldn't be your favorite, but they're funny.
They're great.
They're better than they. Oh, Blue Streak was 99.
Martin
99.
Lawrence, classic.
Mickey Blue Eyes. Ugh, that was funny. That was bad too. Anyway, I'm not gonna go through. But anyway, 1999, big year for movies. The Matrix.
That's 48 classic movies.
If I'm being honest, of all those we just kind of talked through,
yep,
Matrix might be the best one.
Yeah, I would say I love The Mummy so much. It's hard. It's a tie. I can't choose one.
The Mummy's great. It's very fun. I rewatched that sometime last year. But there is legitimately. I mean, I love The Mummy, but I do not think it's like. I don't think it's as iconic or as interesting as The Matrix.
It's more fun.
100%.
Yeah.
100% more fun. But is it lasting fun?
The whole movie's fun.
What reference am I thinking of? Yes, it's fun, but it's not a lasting fun.
Oh, is that a movie reference?
Or a TV, maybe.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Okay, The Matrix is just intense. And
Here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are 21 years later.
And we get a legacy sequel.
The Matrix Resurrections.
Yep.
A revitalization of our Matrix trilogy. Let's talk about some things we have to talk about. Here's what this movie doesn't have. It has a lot of stuff.
Go for it.
It has a lot of good things, has a lot of bad things. Before we talk about good or bad, let's talk about what it doesn't have. It doesn't have Lawrence Fishburne.
I was going to say that.
And it doesn't have Hugo Weaving.
Yep.
I think story-wise, I think it's okay. It's that Lawrence Fishburne isn't in it. I think that I actually like what they did with the real original Morpheus character.
Yeah.
I think the movie suffers greatly by not having Hugo Weaving in it. And I was never that enthralled with him in the trilogy, but I think the reveal of him being stuck in the Matrix as Keanu's business partner, I think that would have been so much more powerful having the actual guy
I agree.
than having a new guy play that character. Because we don't get right away that is Agent Smith, his business partner, Keanu. So Keanu Reeves works at a video game company. Tom Anderson, Mr. Anderson, he works at a video game company. He's a video game designer. He's a story guy. He's a programmer guy, computer guy. He built the greatest video game of all time that everybody loves, the Matrix trilogy.
Yeah. He's a prodigy in his world.
His business partner is the money guy. I don't even know what his fucking name is in this movie because it's unmemorable.
The most forgettable guy
You
ever.
find out eventually that guy is like the new Agent Smith. But that's the story. That's the world we walk into. Our hero, Neo, is Thomas Anderson. He's a dude. He works at a desk. He's got a nice office. He's rich. He's important.
Yeah.
He's an icon of this area. He's deeply unhappy.
Yeah.
But he's a creator. He created an important big video game. Hugo Weaving not being the guy is a bummer. Hugo Weaving was doing a play. He was Lawrence Fishburne was not even asked to be in the film.
What the fuck?
They didn't even approach Lawrence Fishburne. Now, for some reason, and I was doing a little bit. I did research for this episode because I remember, for some reason, hearing that the reason Lawrence Fishburne wasn't approached is because he. I had heard this somewhere. I thought I read this online. I vividly remember reading or seeing something where Lawrence Fishburne made some sort of anti or disparaging comments against the transgender community.
Well, that's a death sentence.
Well, especially if the director is trans.
Yeah.
Which Lana Wachowski is.
Sure.
However, hold on. Don't run away with that. Because in my research in the last 24 hours, I cannot find any evidence of that ever. So I don't know where I made that up. Because I looked everywhere, and I cannot find the article that I read.
Sure.
I cannot find the article that I think I read that probably doesn't even exist.
Okay.
But I was looking for that because I wanted to have more context for this. But I genuinely cannot find what I thought existed, which was some sort of article detailing. There's plenty of articles saying why he's not in the Matrix, but it's all just
hearsay.
It's all just interviewing him and him going.
I wasn't asked.
They didn't ask me. I hope it turns out. I hope it turns out good. I'm gonna do something else. I'm gonna write a play, but they didn't ask me. So best of luck to him. I guess nothing I can do about it.
Sure.
And then when Lana Wachowski, the director, has been asked, she has said it's just it didn't fit for the story. And honestly, the way they handle the actual Lawrence Fishburne Morpheus not appearing in this film, I think is great. I actually really like that part about it. Let's get to that in a minute, though. I don't want to.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
I don't want to jump to that.
Okay.
But anyway, not having Hugo Weaving. Hugo Weaving was doing a play, and he said, "I can't work with my schedule."
What play was it?
Who knows? It doesn't matter. But he was like, "Can you work with my schedule?" And they said no.
Okay.
And so he's like, "Well, I guess I can't do that." Anyway, Neo is a computer guy, works at a video game company. He's been told he has to create he's got to create a sequel to The Matrix.
Yeah, so kind of meta.
Yeah, very meta.
Yeah, within the film.
Extremely meta. It's honestly it's kind of genius. It actually might be.
It's playful and it works. Well, this part is not what I don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big criticism of the film that I've seen from other people, is that the kind of too on the nose critique of modern
He's
cinema.
in tech.
Yeah, the tech thing. I'll tell you what I love about it, because we'll go in order. The very first conversation he has with his business partner,
sure,
who the eventual Agent Smith resurrected. In that conversation, he goes, the character Agent Smith, the business partner, lays out 100% exactly what Lana Wachowski was facing. He goes, look, Thomas, look, Keanu Reeves, you created The Matrix 20 years ago. Here's the problem. Our parent company, Warner Brothers, who owns our video game studio, Warner Brothers, has told us that we have to make a sequel to The Matrix. And they said they own the rights. They're going to do it with or without us. Yeah. So we have to make this, even if we don't fucking want to. I know you said you don't want to. I don't particularly want to, but they told us we have to, or they'll do it without us. So we might as well do it. So A, we can control it, and B, we can make some money off of it.
Okay.
And then Keanu Reeves is like, fuck, good point. I guess we have to do this shit. That's the most real critique of a parent company I've ever seen inside of a work of art. Work of art, it's fucking Matrix 4. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Inside of a narrative.
Sure.
The Simpsons and Family Guy always did a great job of making jokes at Fox's expense.
Sure.
And talking shit on Fox. Even Futurama did that to some extent, but Family Guy and following the example of The Simpsons, trashing Fox was always really funny. This they're doing that same thing that those shows used to do to Warner Brothers, but they should have looked straight into the camera when they had this conversation. They almost do, because it's over shoulder. So you're just basically. Agent Smith is looking right at the camera being like, Warner Brothers told us they're going to do this with or without us.
Yep.
That's basically Lana Wachowski being like, this is why this movie exists. I was forced to make this shit.
I didn't know it was quite like that.
Yeah.
I remember that line, but I didn't know it was like that.
No, that's a true story. Warner Brothers demanded a sequel.
Okay.
Pretty fucked up. Pretty fucked up. Usually my criticism on this podcast is directed at Disney, but
yeah,
I'm not a much bigger fan of Warner Brothers so same exact thing. Direct dig at Warner Brothers for forcing Lana to do this. There we go. That's why we have this movie.
Okay.
And then after that, now he agrees to make the film. Now we're in the what do we call it? The focus group section.
Sure.
It's all the writers, all these guys all these young kids. They're all sitting around a table banding about ideas. I loved this part.
It's a nod to the original Matrix moments, right?
No, not this part. No, they're sitting around like this is a critique. This is a critique of like corporate art production.
Sure.
You know, they're calling it, like, what is the Matrix? The Matrix is it's an expression of self. It's a story. It's about being trans. It's about fighting the man. It's about whatever. They're just throwing around all these like cliches.
Okay.
Trying to define it as these young kids try to make this new version of the video game. Keanu Reeves, the OG creator, is sitting there with his fucking head in his hands.
Sure.
Just dying at this corporate jargon he has to put up with. That's the thing. They're talking. It's about synergy. It's a syncretism between this and that. It's a fucking blah blah blah. It's a whatever the fuck. It's, you know what I mean. They're just throwing out corporate jargon, which is my least favorite thing in the entire world.
Yeah,
I hate
the vernacular, corporate vernacular. Yeah,
I hate people that talk like this. I hate this kind of conversation. So watching this on the screen, being parodied, being like lampooned like this, I really love this scene. A lot of people didn't like it because they thought it was too on the nose. But I have such a visceral fucking hatred for corporatism and any of that corporate speak, that watching this lambasting of it made me really laugh.
Sure.
And I really enjoyed it.
I mean, how on the nose do we get, right? I think at some point, well, I mean, to start with the Lawrence Fishburne thing,
okay,
because just to finish that thought, I like the idea of him being once an agent and for some reason turning into like a person that has like this prophetic destiny.
Well,
that was very interesting.
That was interesting. That's something very different though. That's one of the layers of this. I do like the new Morpheus character.
I like he has an origin story, and that's an interesting take to put in this movie.
Yes, but the fact is that character is not Morpheus. The new Morpheus that we have, that character is not Morpheus.
Okay.
That character is Morpheus as created by Keanu Reeves in The Matrix. Mr. Anderson.
Sure.
The movie starts in something called a modal, which is like a kind of a simulation. So Thomas Anderson, as a computer programmer, Neo is trapped inside the Matrix, but the job they gave him was job of famous video game designer, computer programmer. As computer programmer, he built his own program. He built his own, what they call a modal. I don't know if that's an actual term or not.
Sure.
I don't know enough about computers. He built this modal. He built this program that he's running. It's based on, he built it for the old video game. That is actually not a video game, but is really his memories that they're suppressing or not suppressing.
Sure.
Anyway, he built this program. He designed a character to resemble Morpheus that he remembers, and he runs it over and over again. He runs this program continuously, and what we see at the beginning is that this character that he designed eventually wakes up and finds sentience. He basically invents artificial intelligence within his own matrix.
Interesting.
And that's what it is, because this thing runs over and over again. When the real life characters like Bugs and whomever else, I can't remember any of their names, but Bugs.
Yeah.
And Sequoia. When Bugs and Seek break into this modal, because they're in the Matrix and they see there's another program running, they go a deeper level into this modal, and then she meets this character who has awakened himself, and he has been programmed with all of the attributes of Morpheus, but he's been programmed with all of that. He's been programmed with all of that by Neo, who obviously knows, loves, and remembers Morpheus.
Sure.
So this character it's not the actual Morpheus.
The character in the bathroom with Keanu that's convincing him that he is in the Matrix is a sentient AI program that he himself invented?
That he created.
Interesting. Okay.
Based on his friend. So it'd be like if you died and I created a program of you
that loved stickers
that comes back to life.
Yeah.
Yeah. A middle-aged man
that reads Lord of the Rings at night and loves stickers.
Yeah, loves stickers. That wouldn't be you, but it would be you close enough because I created you with all these attributes that I remembered of you.
Okay,
that's what our new Morpheus is. So
okay.
he's a program that comes to life.
That's interesting.
That's what it. Which I thought to this day, I believe that is a genius turn of this.
Well, for some reason I didn't really pick up on that. I thought that he was an agent outside of Keanu's like simulation experience of being shut off from the real Matrix.
No, inside that modal, he was an agent.
Oh, okay.
That's the thing is everything inside that program, we're rewatching Trinity escape from the very first Matrix movie.
Yeah,
we're rewatching that scene, and Bugs is rewatching that scene, and she goes, "I know this history.
Okay,
this is history from 60 years ago. We know what happens."
Yeah.
She beats the fuck out of
She's watching Keanu's version that he created.
She's like, why are we watching history? She doesn't realize that Keanu built this program. What she's watching as history is something that Keanu thinks is fiction that he made up.
Okay.
But he knows there's something. He's letting his fiction play out over and over again until the characters
come to life.
Yeah,
somehow
come to life. Yeah, but one of those characters that he writes as an agent actually he becomes the Morpheus character.
Interesting.
That's what it is.
Okay.
So again, a kind of a brilliant way to introduce a new version of a dead character.
Yeah, I guess so.
And also,
I don't know how much essence or like substance that character has now that he's just like a regurgitation of like
none at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, none at all. He's fake. He's a fucking robot. That's the thing. In the real world, he's a collection of like magnetic balls. Remember that?
Yeah.
That's how programs they created this new thing to where the programs from the Matrix can exist in the real world. They step out into this like living computer.
Oh, that's why he was the whole ball person.
That's why there's several of those characters walking around. It's
okay.
They're not real people. They are robots or they're something from the Matrix, but they can exist in the real world when they inhabit this robot body made up of magnet balls for visual effect.
Well,
it could have just been any blank-faced android that they plug into, but they wanted to do the magnetic ball thing for effect. There's nothing to that. Although it helps story-wise because the magnetic balls can fit into tight spaces and break you out of prisons.
So, okay. So, I will say I'm liking up to that point because I jumped ahead a little bit. I like the montage of him being blue pilling himself constantly, right?
Great.
I liked that part of the film.
I like it a lot.
At this part, I think even right to when like the Morpheus sentient being comes, that I was like, oh, this movie's going to be so kick-ass. He's like obviously going to break out of the Matrix again to do some cool thing, and then I don't remember. It just doesn't seem to really take off like in a way I think is interesting after that.
Yeah, it's
like
weird.
Like that was the peak interest for me, and then I was like, okay. Then it was just like
conceptually, I love that.
Okay,
I love the same thing you do. The this whole thing. There's even a line in the movie when Neo first gets out of the Matrix again, and he's back on the ship.
Sure.
And he's having this crisis because he's so confused about everything that's been happening. He's sitting with Bugs, the ship captain, and he goes, I can't believe the Matrix. I can't believe these robots that put me back in the Matrix. They rebuilt my body. They put me back in the Matrix. They took all my memories and they just like whatever. They made it a video game. They made it a fiction.
Well,
and she goes, that's what the Matrix does. They take your story and they trivialize it. I disagree with their assessment of what happened.
At the end of the original third movie, is that what you're talking about?
No, it's in this movie. This is a scene from this movie.
No, that's what I'm saying, though. They're referencing, like, because what happened to Neo's body at the end of the third movie.
Well, right. Well, yeah, but that's what I mean. They saved him. They brought him back to life. The same thing with Trinity.
Yeah.
But the thing is, here's what the actual, like, the robots in charge of the Matrix, the machines, as they're called, the machines, they don't have the power to truly wipe your memory.
Yeah.
They can't erase your memory. And so not only they can't erase your memory, and if they could erase your memory, at what point are you a different person if all your memories are gone?
Sure.
And it's made clear to us that they need Neo, because for those of you who don't remember the original conceit of the Matrix, the world is destroyed.
Yep.
In the fight between robots and humans.
Zion.
Fight between robots and humans. The world is destroyed. Humanity, in an attempt to stop robots from having any power, literal electricity, humanity destroyed the sky. They blackened the sky so that robots couldn't have access to solar power.
Yep.
So the robots had to then enslave humans.
Treat them like batteries.
Yeah, and put them in pods and use human energy as batteries. That's what's happening. The reason this new Matrix in Part 4 works is because they have a bunch of human batteries still. They're still a Matrix, but Neo and Trinity, Neo puts out way more energy than more than me.
Yeah.
Keanu Reeves puts out more energy than I do.
Yeah.
Or you. I'm just a dude I'm just a millionaire podcaster.
Yeah.
World famous film critic. He's an actual movie star. He's putting out more energy than I am.
Yep.
They needed Carrie-Anne Moss and Keanu Reeves. They needed their bodies in the Matrix. In order to sustain this new smaller Matrix, they needed these two people who were putting out massive energy.
Oh, okay.
They're balls of energy. And if you keep them next to each other,
mega energy.
Yeah, the closer they are, the bigger the energy ball is. But you can't let them touch, because if they connect, everything gets destroyed. So you can't let them fall in love, or you can't let them get together, but you keep them near each other.
Yep.
It's almost like the robots found a way to harness sexual tension.
I appreciate that, actually.
It's a more creative take.
Imagine if
than I
we could
expected.
harness the energy of sexual tension.
My laptop would explode.
Exactly.
It's a more creative take than I expected from a shitty sequel 21 years later.
It's creative in idea, but not in execution.
Well, but the other thing I like about it is, again, they can't wipe his memory, so he's got all these memories.
Yeah.
So it's not that they trivialized his life story by turning it into some video game that he created.
They fully embraced it.
They have to keep that there, because he can't be like, I remember all this shit. The reason you remember all this shit, in quotation marks, is because you put it into your own video game, dude.
Yep.
That's a way to keep those memories existing without him rebelling.
Sure.
Because he's not like, where are these stray memories coming from? Obviously, I'm a different person. They're not stray memories. They contextualize them for him, which is a more effective form of imprisonment to this.
Absolutely.
To this body.
Yeah, especially for this system. Oh, and guys, we actually have the Matrix on behind this while we're...
it's on the background in my on my giant ass TV.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I should watch it again. I just remember the pacing not being very good after the montage of him, finally kind of waking up and everything, and kind of getting into the adventure and action portions of what should be a Matrix movie.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not. I don't. I think it's. I mean, those two of the sequels were so bad. Reloaded and Revolutions were bad.
I mean, I would say they probably are bad, but the momentum of the first one, I think, was like fine enough for me to enjoy them for what they were, as a trilogy. And I would call it a trilogy. And when I watch them, I love to watch them in order. I won't just watch the first one. I'll watch all three,
I think before this movie came out, I'm normally like you, but I think before this movie came out, I think I only rewatched the first one.
Really?
I don't think I even fucked with 2 or 3.
Sure.
I mean, I've seen those a lot when I was a kid. I watched them a lot when I was in high school.
Yeah.
But I back in December when this shit was about to come out, I think I just rewatched 1 because I love that one, but I don't think I even did that. Let's take a look at. Here's a couple problems I have with it.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Speaking of the going back to what I was just talking about, the battery thing about how how Neo and Trinity put out more energy as battery. They're better batteries than regular people. Our bad guy, who we'll get to in a minute, he talks about desire and fear. He's like, you antagonize your captives and they put out more energy. He doesn't say that. I'm paraphrasing.
Okay.
But it's like that. Remind me, are you a Rick and Morty fan?
No, I'm not.
Okay. Well, for any Rick and Morty fans out there, there's an episode where the first time we ever see evil Morty, there's an episode where they're tracking down this guy. They're tracking down evil Rick, evil Morty, who's killed a bunch of other characters of Rick and Morty across the multiverse. And there's a big dome, and it's a bunch of Mortys have been strapped to the dome.
Oh, I think I did see that episode.
And they're all being
tortured.
Yeah, they're all being pricked with little needles.
Yeah,
and they're screaming and crying, and the effect of that, the collective agony of Morty was used as a shield so that nobody could find evil Rick. He was using, it's like a phasing issue.
Sure.
They cancel each other out. That exact same principle applies in Matrix 4.
I guess.
That's why they keep Neo and Trinity next to each other but not together.
Okay.
If they're together and happy, that's bad. But if they're together and dissatisfied, they're outputting more energy. Their stress is powering the Matrix better.
Okay.
This is all done by our new architect, Neil Patrick Harris.
I hate this. Dude, I hate him in this movie. I hate his character in this movie.
Do you think he does a bad job?
I think he's Neil Patrick Harris in everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that what I hated is the way too long explanation of why I'm the bad guy. Doing the bad guy reveals his plan.
He loves a monologue.
The Neil Patrick Harris monologue in this movie was so cringy to me.
There's several of them.
They're too bad, dude.
Yeah, he's long-winded. I mean, that's not his fault. That's Lana Wachowski. Blame her.
I guess, but I mean, a villain isn't believable because they have a monologue.
Well, but that's the thing is, the problem with the Matrix is that there's a lot of things this movie gets wrong. But
why would a machine need to explain if it's a machine?
Well, that's the thing is all the machines throughout the Matrix are actually like they all have human characteristics.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. But yeah, you're right. You're right. But that's the thing is they never fight. The bad guys, like the original architect, that fucking Colonel Sanders motherfucker from part 2 and 3, wearing a white suit. He's like, I'm the guy that built all this shit. All the bad guys, they don't fight any of the bad guys. They don't fight any of the actual people that cause them a problem. The only guy he fights is Agent Smith, who's actually an agent, but he turns rogue anyways.
Yeah, he does go rogue.
He's a separate dude anyways.
Yeah.
So that's like, if I could bring it to Colombian politics, Neo and his faction, they're like the FARC. They're the drug cartels.
Yep.
And then Agent Smith is all the paramilitaries that they don't think the government's doing enough to destroy the drug cartels.
Yeah.
So they start their own paramilitary and start their own war against the drug cartels, also extrajudicial. So there's an actual government that can't control either of these organizations, and now it's just chaos because we have this trio of factions fighting each other.
Yeah.
That's what happened in Colombia and also in The Matrix. I'm sorry.
Are we saying that The Matrix copied Colombian history?
I'm sorry to all my Colombian friends that had to hear me say the fucking dumbest thing they've ever heard. I understand I just completely misrepresented and trivialized your history. I swear it's because I'm dumb and not for any other reason.
I mean,
nevertheless, I'm right.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
The problem is when these two factions are fighting each other, Neo and Smith, they're not fighting. At no point are they even fighting the people who actually run the shit, which is the machines.
Sure. I mean, honestly, how do you beat a reveal as big as the first Matrix?
I mean, yeah,
you just don't.
The first Matrix was great. The first Matrix was really genius level storytelling and so interesting. Let's talk a little bit more about Neil Patrick Harris, because I'll tell you what I don't like. I think actually he did a good job. It's not his fault that he was overwritten. He's written to be verbose, which he's good at. But also, here's the other thing is that, again, in The Matrix, you don't fight the actual bad guys. You fight something else. You're fighting a system.
The other, yeah. All right.
Neo didn't fight that Colonel Sanders motherfucker, the architect. He should have, but what would have gotten him? That's the problem with not the problem. That's the.
It's kind of in the way.
That's part and parcel of dealing with the Matrix. Who do we fight to make things work? I will say what I don't like about the actual bad guy, which is in this case Neil Patrick Harris, the therapist / the new architect of.
Yep.
Is I feel bad for anybody that's like. Neo's going to therapy, and his therapist is actually his imprisoner. He doesn't realize this.
That's how I feel about my therapist.
Do you really go to therapy?
Fuck no.
Okay, good. I'd have to kick you off this podcast if you did. This is an anti-therapy.
I'm not that unhinged.
This is an anti-making yourself better podcast. This is a podcast.
No dancing and no therapy.
Let's Get Trashed is about leading into your shortcomings and not.
I mean, I
shit.
just know after seeing this movie, I know what therapists are.
Yeah, they're robot
They're
robot prison guards.
Yeah.
Now, Thomas Anderson goes to therapy every day.
Okay.
He talks to Neil Patrick Harris, and he just tells him, he's like, man, I feel like this isn't real. I feel like all that Matrix shit from my video games, I feel like that's my real history. I feel like I'm an actual guy. I feel like I live in a simulation, all this kind of stuff. And to me, it's fucked up because the bad guy is going, oh, come on, you're crazy. You don't,
take the pill.
Yeah, take this blue pill. You know that sounds crazy. You know you're being crazy, right? That's what his therapist is saying. That's what the bad guy's saying.
Gaslighting.
Yeah, gaslighting. It should be. That's why I this movie gave me a new appreciation for like James Bond villains, because if you figure it out. When James Bond is tied to a chair and he goes, I know you're trying to use the laser to steal Fort Knox. Yeah. The decent thing to do is be like, oh fuck, you're right. Before I kill you, I'm gonna tell you the rest of my plan also.
Yeah, like, classic.
Yeah, I was just like, hey man, give the guy his credit. He figured it out. He's
gonna die anyways.
He figured it out. Then you got to do the here's how my plan's actually gonna happen. You were close, James Bond, but here's what you missed. So for him to be going to therapy every day with like hitting the nail on the head, I feel like I fought a war against the machines, and then the bad guy not even have the decency to be like, damn, dude, you fucking got us. I got to rewipe your memory, which sucks, but you fucking figured it out, man. Good for you. Instead for your therapy to be like, nah, you're dumb. It's just, that's evil.
Yeah.
That's evil. You got to be, Bond villains are
evil.
Yeah, Bond villains are better to at least admit that you got it. At least give you the credit for being right.
Yeah. Okay, I have one thing, and I don't know how much notes you have, so I don't want to skip too far ahead at the end. It's an end of the movie sequence. It's the last scene, in fact.
Okay.
So
we're dealing with the very last scene. They're dealing with the therapist again.
Yes, Neil Patrick Harris, Neo, and Trinity. Trinity can fly now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, they do something. They attack him in some way, right?
Trinity beats the shit out of him.
Okay, but how are they not attacking the actual, like, outside of the Matrix people yet? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know why.
Like the actual, like the weird alien thing. I thought this was cool as hell at the end of the third one. Like the one that takes Keanu, and maybe there was a clip of it in the newest one. The one that takes Neo. Like the weird, like, head, like with a bunch of tentacles and stuff. Do you remember that being?
Yeah, well, he lays down in a bed of tentacles, and they plug him back into the Matrix so he can fight their common enemy, which was Agent Smith.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I would have liked them to, like, be like, oh, we don't just have superpowers in the Matrix. We're actually fighting the robots that are with maybe even superpowers in that world or something cool. It's like, you don't do anything. You're still in the Matrix.
Yeah, I agree. It's a little ineffective. I mean, for them to just go back,
be like, Trinity can fly now.
Yeah, and we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay,
we'll get to that because that's a 2021 kind of
nod.
We'll talk about the Wachowskis in a little bit. Okay. One thing, as far as pacing or stuff like that, one thing I don't... I mean, this is a minor detail, but one thing I don't like about this movie is Neo and Trinity, they have to go through a lot to, like, wake up from the Matrix. And that was a thing even in the original trilogy of, like, people we raised from the Matrix, they have to go through a lot to kind of have their awakening.
Yeah.
But two of our main characters in this film, Bugs and Agent Smith, they don't. Bugs, if we remember, her awakening is she sees Keanu Reeves jumping off she's a window washer.
Sure.
And Keanu Reeves is jumping off a building, and they lock eyes for 1 second before he jumps, and she goes, "That was my awakening moment. I knew at that moment that the Matrix was real and I was in a simulation and I had to find my way out."
Okay.
Just one look was like all it took. Same thing with Agent Smith in the battle scene inside the office when there's, when Morpheus comes out and there's all these gunshots and everything and all this kind of crazy shit. Agent Smith just walks, he sees all this chaos going around. He sees a gun on the floor, he picks it up, and then he wakes up. He's like, "Oh, I remember everything now. I'm Agent Smith and I got to kill Neo and my captors." Kill him. Everybody else just wakes because as a matter of storytelling convenience, they wake up at the drop of a hat, and whereas actual characters that we have to give a shit about, it's just not consistent. That's a fault I noticed with this. It's not a journey of self-discovery. It's a light switch flip.
Yeah,
for if it's convenient for it to be
for the narrative, just to move it forward, I guess. But
here's a joke. What sucks is that I don't have, like, the computer skills to escape the Matrix. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if we had to.
I 100% recognize that I live in a simulation and none of this is real.
Yeah.
But I can't type fast enough to get out. Like,
whatever's like your words per minute.
Yeah, whatever skills I need to get out, I just don't have. I don't understand computers enough. I'd be trying to, like, somebody be like, in order for you to get out of the Matrix,
just hit Command S.
I need you to type 120 words per minute. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, you got to give me something else. Yeah. Give me something else. And they're like, why don't you reinstall your drivers? I was like, ugh, give me a third one.
I've got Windows XP. I don't
give me a third one. Yeah, I know. I was like, I'll be trying to get out of the Matrix, and my fucking Mac will be like, "Do you want to? Do you want to reinstall updates?" I was like, God, not in an hour.
Yeah, like tomorrow. They're like, if you would have updated, you would have escaped.
Ask me tomorrow.
Yeah.
I just couldn't get out of the Matrix because I don't know anything about computers.
I think it's funny that now is like everyone's taken on the simulation philosophy when it's like the Matrix has been out for 22 years.
Yeah, but also the 90s was like a
well, they had the Mummy to distract them.
But the 90s is a great time. Don't forget the reason I mean, it's coincidence that it happened at the time, but in the Matrix, in the original one, they're like the world. You think of the world as 1999. You think it's before the turn of the century. It's actually closer to 2199. We know that it's actually 2699. That's what's interesting. That's what's actually there's something wrong in this movie. This is like 2277.
Okay.
Morpheus was wrong when he said it's actually closer to 2199 instead of 1999.
Yeah.
But the computers, the machines imprisoned you, and they made the Matrix to be the best time in human history, which they predicted was 1999, and they were right. That literally was the best time ever. Before 9/11, tech boom. Fucking Classmates.com was worth $400 a share. 9/11 hadn't happened yet.
Yeah.
It was the best time in human movies were good.
Movies were very good.
Austin Powers 2, dude.
Ooh,
it was the best time.
movie.
It was the best time in human history.
Yeah.
Would you go into the Matrix? Would you go
back in time?
Would you go live in permanent 1999 in the Matrix?
I don't like the fashion then, dude. I don't like the way the guys dressed. Like, cause if listen to me, if I would have had to go back, I would have had to be in like a young kid again. And I just don't like that. I don't like the way people were dressed then.
I don't like the way guys dressed.
No, dude, it pisses me off.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I don't like the way girls dress either.
That might be
fashion.
That might be the gayest thing you're ever going to hear on Let's Get Trashed.
You're wrong.
I don't want to go back to 1999 because I don't like the way men's clothes fit.
Dude, I was watching an episode of The OC yesterday. Mel had it on, Andrew's fiance or whatever, girlfriend. And, dude, the fashion then was just so terrible, man. It's just so bad. Everyone, like, it's like you were either a douchebag or, I guess, a nerd. But not being a nerd then wasn't, like, cool. Like, you were not cool. So you had no chance at all.
Do you want to go back in time and be a .com billionaire? No, because then I have to wear OP shorts and an Abercrombie shirt.
I'd rather die.
That's insane. First of all that's coming back now, dude. 90s, 2000s shit.
Not for me.
Girls are bringing back low-rise jeans, and I just want to say, ladies, good on you. About time. That was my formative years.
Okay.
Low-rise jeans and the whale tails, and that's coming back. Put this high-waist Taylor Swift shit in the fucking trash.
Yep.
Go back to barely covering your privates with a pair of jeans.
Oh, okay. I get it.
Yeah. 90s and 2000s, baby. I mean, it's the best time. It's the best time there ever was. The Matrix was right. They didn't even know when this movie was made that was the best time of human history. Okay. They just got lucky that all this shit happened before 9/11 fucked it all up.
Yeah. Movie's bad. Matrix 4 is bad.
Let's talk about.
Let's wrap it up.
Well, we got a few more things. Let's talk about Neo.
Okay.
Let's talk. Once he's free, goes back into the Matrix. We got it on right now. We're watching Jada Pinkett Smith be irritating as always.
Yeah.
It's annoying that she's in charge now.
She just talks so slow in this movie, dude.
I
feel like the dialogue is just so slow, and it's like, can we do some actiony things? Can we, without him fighting somebody that's not Agent Smith? You know?
Yeah, I don't like her in this movie. I think she's a bitch, and I think she sucks in this movie. Okay. What I do like, the way they explain the non-existence of the original Morpheus, I actually did really like. Do you remember what they said?
No, not at all.
We're about to find out as we're watching this.
Okay,
but anyway, the idea is Neo goes, what happened to real Morpheus?
Mm-hmm.
After Matrix 3, after Morpheus was the one that believed in Neo the whole time.
Yep.
Neo fucking wins the fight, wins the war. War's done. There's peacetime now. Morpheus unanimously elected to the fucking president, grand leader, whatever. He's now the HNIC, as we might say in Stand By Me or Lean on Me, whatever movie, Lean on Me, as Morgan Freeman might say. He's unanimously elected.
I see what that's meant. Okay, go for it.
Yeah, he's in charge now. He's fucking he's rocking it.
Uh-huh.
A few years down the line, peace starts to get a little shaky.
Yes.
The bad guys start acting up again. They start acting a fool. There starts to be some uprising. Starts to be some problems on the horizon.
Okay.
Morpheus ignores it, refuses to believe it's true, because he believes so much in Neo and Neo's legacy.
Still,
he's like Neo's legacy is permanent.
Oh,
there's no way there's any problems on the horizon.
That sounds like something Morpheus would say.
It sounds like it sounds like something anybody would do.
Yeah.
It sounds like it sounds like anything. It's just like, man, I was so right this time. Any problems down the road, that's not true. We solved it. I know we solved it. I'm not even gonna justify this because Neo already solved it.
Yep.
I honestly, that little line of dialogue to explain why he's not there, I really thought that was well done. I thought that was a great little thing. I think that's a very human thing.
Yeah.
To if you believe in something, when evidence appears to counteract your beliefs, you shun the evidence.
Oh yeah.
That's as human a reaction to something as could possibly
It's denial.
exist. Yeah, it's denial. Yeah, and that's what we're watching right now. As rumors of this new power spread, he ignored them.
Oh.
He was certain what you had done could not be undone.
Matrix 4.
All these people never
That's
stopped
gospel.
believing. Yeah. He was certain what you had done could not be undone. So that's why he ignored all the new threats. And that's what fucked up everything
But
up.
Jada didn't.
Well, she I don't think she mentioned she was that much of a genius. She just didn't have any choice.
Yeah.
She's just a soldier at the time. She's a nobody. Anyway, let's talk about Neo's powers. What do you think about Neo the fighter in Matrix 4?
I mean, maybe he fought. The only time I remember him fighting, it's just not very memorable to me, was the new Agent Smith in like a beat down house, which was like very cheap and like lazy to me.
Yeah, with all those old characters from Revolutions. From
Yeah,
Matrix 2,
it's just like
the Merovingian.
It's like it was just lazy. It's like, we know he's Neo. He knows he's Neo now. Can he be Neo for a little bit or no?
Apparently not, because he never.
So we don't get to see it.
No. Well, it doesn't happen. That's the thing. So that's a philosophical change in this movie.
Bad.
I agree.
Bad movie.
I agree. A good friend of mine, my buddy Daniel, shout out Daniel Sanchez, drummer for Superphonicos. When this movie first came out, him and I were talking about it. He said something so funny. He goes, man, I think John Wick could beat up this Neo.
100%.
Like John Wick, Keanu and John Wick is more of a badass than Keanu in Matrix 4. It's our Neo in this movie is a castrated one, or a
it's a good way to put it.
Yeah, he's a weaker version of what he is, which I disagree with on a fundamental level. Here's why they did it. Let's talk about Lana Wachowski's reason for doing that. Who can fly at the end of the movie?
Trinity.
Trinity can fly.
Yeah.
Trinity has all the actual, can manipulate the Matrix. So even when they're at the very, very end, they're fucking up Neil Patrick Harris. She breaks his nose. She snaps her fingers and heals him. She cuts his throat. She snaps her fingers and heals him. And then she keeps fucking him up and healing him. She can control the Matrix now. She has all the power that we used to think of belonging to the One.
Sure.
Neo doesn't have that anymore. The explanation in the film is that when their bodies were being rebuilt, their dead bodies were captured by the robots, the machines. The machines rebuilt them. When they rebuilt them, they misattributed some aspects from one to the other. That's how Trinity got Neo's powers. They accidentally took Neo shit. Who does this belong to? Well, I guess it belongs over here. They put it in Trinity. The power used to belong to a man, but now the power belongs to a woman.
Yep.
It's a trans thing because Lana Wachowski and Lily Wachowski are both trans.
Sure.
They used to have other names, and now they're Lana and Lily. Lily actually had nothing to do with this film.
Sure.
She didn't want to participate. So Lana made this by herself, or directed it by herself. Obviously, there's a crew of thousands. But anyway, that's trans allegory. That's the actual trans allegory. I don't believe that the original Matrix is a trans allegory. Although that's what they say, that's what Lana and Lily say it is. I don't agree with them. I think they're wrong.
That's an interesting perspective, and one that's hard to commentate on, I guess.
Well, I think the fact is,
also, if that's where you arrive at, why didn't we include Trinity way early on and make her the hero, and give her Neo powers and make it fun and interesting and do cool shit?
Why not make her the lead the entire time?
I mean, that
would
have been fine.
Sure, it would have been fine for me. I think audiences wanted to see Keanu Reeves,
but we didn't.
Well, we wanted to see him. Well, we wanted to see him be.
That's what I'm saying.
Neo again. Yeah, we didn't see him. We didn't.
The allure of the first Matrix is that there was an impossible enemy to defeat. No one could defeat him, and there was terror if these agents were around, and there's just not that threat.
Yeah,
and there's nothing. That threat isn't defeated really.
Yeah, here's a lot of things I kind of disagree with the direction they took this film. I understand they wanted to really like shoehorn that trans allegory in. It's like now the woman is the one. The power changes from man to woman. I don't even think the original movies are trans. That commentary about the film didn't even come out until after Lily or after Lana transitioned in like 2010.
Okay.
And I just don't believe I don't participate in any after the fact shit. The same thing like what's her name? Harry Potter woman said that the principal of Harry Potter was gay afterwards. Who's the principal in Harry Potter? The king or the
Dumbledore?
Yeah, Dumbledore. She said he's gay, but you didn't put that in the book. So now you're just making shit up for political reasoning after the fact.
Sure. After she got in trouble saying some shit or something.
No, this was before any of that.
Okay.
But the thing with the Wachowskis saying that like the original Matrix is about being trans because it's a story wherein this character finds the truth about himself. I disagree with the assertion that a journey of self-discovery is unique to the trans community.
Sure.
Everybody goes through some sort of finding themselves thing.
Yeah,
Julia Roberts in Eat, Pray, Love is trying to find herself. The Divine Sisterhood of the Pants, or whatever.
Pants. They like pants.
No, Traveling Pants and the Ya Sisterhood. It's about finding yourself. Any coming of age movie is about people finding themselves. Which again, I'm not a fan of any of these genres anyways. The Matrix might be the only finding yourself type movie I even like. But the idea of, I mean, if that's what it means to you, it means that to you as far the trans thing or any type of sexuality thing.
Yeah.
But the idea that this is the idea that we didn't tell you, but this movie's a trans thing. It's like, why? Because a dude finds himself. I hate to break it to you, ladies, but that actually happens to literally every human being. It's not all of us are finding out something as basic as what sex we are or gender or whatever.
Yeah.
It's not that cataclysmic of a discovery, but nevertheless, not only is it not unique, it's borderline universal for every human being.
Well,
so I don't agree with that. And the other thing about Matrix 4 in particular, what is missing from this movie is the fact that the reason Neo is as powerful as he is because he is the most capable of seeing the Matrix as fake.
Okay.
For example, everybody, if you're listening to this, tune in, go onto YouTube right now for this. Yeah. So I fake punched you. I pretended to punch you, and you.
I knew that you weren't going to
you flinched.
Hit me.
You flinched.
I didn't flinch.
You've closed your eyes.
I closed my eyes.
Yeah. Was I going to hit you?
I knew that you weren't.
Your
reach? I know exactly where you need to be to actually punch me.
I could have punched you. I could have easily punched you from there.
Not from that reach.
I pulled back 100%.
I would have countered.
You wouldn't have never. You couldn't have in a million years. But you knew I wouldn't just punch you out of nowhere.
That's true.
You knew there's no scenario.
So what you're saying is that I can see the Matrix.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
There's no scenario in which your dear friend at Nick Tazo Drums, at Nick Tazo on Twitter, would just punch you out of the blue.
Sure.
But even though you know I'm going to hit you, I'm not going to hit you. You still close your eyes when you see the fist coming towards you.
Yeah.
That's what the Matrix is. The reason Morpheus can't stop bullets from flying, even though he knows the bullets are fake, he sees a bullet coming at him and he flinches.
Oh, okay.
We can't get past our human sensory limitations.
Sure.
Neo could. Neo's the one, not because he actually has magical powers, but because him more than anybody else realizes, all this shit is fake. The bullets are fake, which means I don't have to flinch or duck.
Yeah.
I can stop them. I can fly because I'm not flying. The air isn't real. This gravity's not real. I'm in a computer thing. So other people can't fly because even though you intellectually know that gravity isn't real, you still flinch when you feel it. That's the point. Neo, more than anybody, realizes in the original Matrix trilogy.
Yeah, he has that awesome sort of perspective, or power, rather. It's a power.
Yeah.
Yeah, that separation. That's the one.
But
the oneness.
It's just a mindset.
Sure.
That's my takeaway from it and always has been.
Cool.
It's not that he doesn't have a superpower. He just understands better than anybody else that this is fake and he can manipulate it.
Sure.
The rest of us can't stop flinching when a fist comes towards our face, even though we know intellectually that the fist is not going to connect.
Yep.
That's where his power comes from. That's what I don't like about this movie, because now he's castrated. He's a much weaker version of Neo. But why? The one thing he has, which is understanding that it's fake, that didn't go away. So it went from being a really smart thing to being a thing of like, oh, there is some sort of superpower gene that he has.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so now it's just a superhero story, and now our superhero doesn't have the gene; his fucking girlfriend has it, and now she's the superhero.
Yeah.
That to me is a cheap
transfer.
Yeah, it's just a cheap excuse to transfer it to a woman and make it a not that, you know, if the power had awoken in Carrie Ann Moss and she goes, "Oh, I also realize this is fake. Oh, I can
do that movie.
I can do rainbow shit. I can make rainbows out of my hands. I can make buildings explode. I can fly. I can do all kinds of shit.
Sure.
I also now on a level understand the same thing that Neo used to, that I couldn't. I had that mental block. That's great. Give her even, and then make her even stronger. I don't. This is not a thing of like I care about that, but it's just it's a situation wherein I wish they had kept it consistent with what I consider to be the values of the original one.
Oh yeah, for sure. What was clearly established with the original characters, you know. You can't castrate your hero and then he doesn't really get much of a redemption in the newest story.
Yeah,
I mean the hero's arc is completely destroyed.
Right. You can hamstring him or something if you give him an actual
redemption.
Not even that. If you give him an actual injury, let's
just something with with purpose. But then I would say,
guess what, Neo? The robots cut off your fucking arm.
But then there's always like a pupil, or there's always like a baton to the next thing.
Yeah,
you know, like that wasn't even a part of it. Like,
no, that's the other thing is, do they make a sequel to this?
They won't.
They won't?
No, it didn't do well enough.
It didn't do well enough because it was released on streaming and theaters simultaneously.
They're not going to do another one, but
they might, dude.
Really?
I wouldn't be surprised. Why else would you even do this?
I mean, I'm pretty. I might be making this up, but I was under the assumption that through like maybe an art or something that this was not going to be continued.
I hope you're right.
Yeah,
I hope you're right.
But
anyway, yeah. That
my recommendation: don't watch it. Focus on don't let it tarnish the original ones, which I don't think it can anyways, but
yeah, I don't know. I don't hate this. I don't hate this movie. I honestly think this might be, I don't know. This might not be my least favorite Matrix movie. It might be my third
favorite out of the four.
Third favorite, 3 out of 4. I don't know. On a particularly good day, maybe even 2.
It might work as a standalone movie. Maybe. I don't fucking know.
No, I don't know,
man. I really didn't like it.
We're watching young Agent Smith and old Neo fight right now, and it just sucks.
Yeah, it's bad, dude.
I mean, the fighting is fine, but I just hate this kid. You know,
he's just a Chad tech bro. You know? It's like we already see these so much everywhere all the time. Like
Chad tech bro. Let's talk about Tiffany. You know, Trinity's her prison name.
Yeah.
Tiffany. Her husband is named Chad.
Of course.
That's the name they give the actual guy.
Of course.
You know, the one time Keanu Reeves gets the balls to go like talk to her at the coffee shop. They're in the middle of their conversation, and then her husband Chad. This is my husband Chad, and he's got a jawline. He shows up, and they've got kids and shit. You know, so that's pretty funny. There's a lot of that kind of like reference to gamer culture. You know,
yeah.
Chad. Neil Patrick Harris uses the word sheeple at one point.
Sure.
Which is infuriating.
Yeah.
To just bring something that...
It kind of breaks through the movie when you use, like, the most modern vernacular
to bring
things. It's like, okay.
To bring something that contemporary and callous, or not, you know, I don't know. To bring something that shallow to it, like, sheeple is... you know, my uncle calls Democrats sheeple on Facebook. Why the fuck is the bad guy of the Matrix
no meaning
doing
now.
the same thing?
Yeah.
It's like the worst example I ever heard of this was when I was in grad school. My university put on an opera. They put on Don Giovanni, which is a Mozart opera.
Yeah.
But they did it in English. They did an English translation of it, which is fine. But they did a modern take on it, and this was 2012.
Mm-hmm.
So this was early 2012. Obama and Romney were the two presidential candidates for that election,
Okay.
and Romney had recently had a gaffe, which at the time was very scandalous, when he goes, people, they accused Romney of being sexist, and Romney goes, I have a binder full of women, volunteers that are working for my organization and that believe in our message of whatever.
Yeah.
And, of course, the news cycles focused on the term binder full of women as do you remember this?
Yeah, when you said binder full of women, I was like, where's this going?
Yeah.
I don't particularly remember this, but
okay, well,
I could see anyone doing that.
This was a big political gaffe in 2012.
Sure.
He said binder full of women, and then the opposing media ran with that as a as an example of like
misogyny and just like a hound.
Yeah, what a sexist thing for a president to say. Little did we know, right around the corner was Trump Daddy, who was gonna blow. I remember that was one thing I said that to someone back in the 2016 election cycle.
Yeah.
I was like, do y'all remember fucking 4 years ago when y'all thought binder full of women was an outrageous thing for a presidential candidate to say?
Yep.
Because look what we got now,
dude.
I don't know what you guys are.
Changed. Times have changed.
Yeah.
The sheeple have changed.
Yeah. Don't you wish you had? Don't you wish that you had just understood the fucking context 4 years ago instead of burning all your outrage then?
Yeah.
But anyway, they included that. Don Giovanni is the story of, it's the Don Juan story. It's about a Lothario who has sex with a lot of women, and they shoehorned that line into this classic Mozart opera.
Uh-huh.
They changed some of the lyrics so they could fit this dig at Mitt Romney into a university opera performance.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the least timeless. This is gonna not make sense 4 days from now when you perform it again.
Of course.
It's so
it's like, it's a thing we've talked about before. It's like, you made a movie for this year, and don't ever do that. Don't make a movie for the language of right now. Yeah,
Again, if you see it tomorrow, you're gonna be like, oh, this doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah,
that it's a short-sighted way of doing things, and I think this movie suffers from that a lot.
Yeah,
there's a lot of that kind of like internet speak. Again, calling her husband a Chad, him saying sheeple. The whole, I mean, as much as I like that lampooning of the corporate speak at the beginning, but all that kind of stuff doesn't make sense. The first time he talks to Trinity in the coffee shop, her teenage son is like, "You trying to ball my mom?" Yeah, and it's like, what year did you grab that from? Because ball my mom. I've
never even heard that.
I mean, I heard it on Adam Sandler album in 1996. Okay. You know what I mean?
So the references are just all over the place.
Yeah, it's all over the place. So it's swatting when they're that first big action scene when they're being evacuated from the video games offices, and they're like, it's probably nothing. I think some kids just swatted us. Swatting is, nobody listening to this even knows what. Do you know what swatting is? No. You don't? Okay.
I don't think so.
Swatting is when you and I are playing video games online against each other. Yeah. You're in your house, I'm in my house. You beat me at video games. You beat me at Call of Duty. Okay. I call the police and I tell him that there's a guy at Jimmy's address who's a fucking terrorist. Okay. And he's trying to kill it.
SWAT shows up.
And then the SWAT team shows up. The SWAT team shows up and kills you because the police just shoot whoever the fuck they want for no reason. That's called swatting. Okay. That's again, this movie is filled with these like references to
strange things.
Cultural things that are not even cultural phenomenons. Yeah. They're cultural minutia. Swatting is probably
too specific.
Swatting has probably happened 4 times in the country.
Yeah.
Don't look it up. If you're watching this,
don't look it up. Whatever you look up is wrong.
This is not a fact-checked podcast. This is an anti-fact podcast.
Anti-facts only.
All right. So, we're going to wrap it up. Do you recommend this movie or not?
I would say it depends on how much of a fan of The Matrix you are. I am a huge fan, and I thought this movie was not good, and I was kind of disappointed in it. And I will say when I watched it, I had my hopes up, not mega high, but pretty high, just thinking that they couldn't miss because the first 3 were so good, and maybe they finally developed a story. I didn't know the whole thing about the WB thing and that they were forced to make a movie. Mm-hmm. I was thinking surely they're making a sequel that they really wanted to make, but I would say maybe don't watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah.
If there's anything I mean, again, I disagree with your assertion that the first 3 are so good.
Well, I mean,
I generally think. You know what I think? Yeah. You know what? You know what the second best Matrix movie is?
What's that?
The Animatrix.
Sure.
So
yeah,
this isn't even. This is one of 5 that are maybe good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right now we're looking at the scene where Neil Patrick Harris, I
hate this scene so much.
Could somehow, I don't know how he has the power to just stop everything. Why did the old architect have to live in a white room with TVs on the wall, and this guy gets to just wander around and freeze time at will?
This is a terrible scene, dude.
Yeah, and it also doesn't make sense because he's got a bullet. He's slow timing a bullet towards Trinity, but in a few seconds, once he releases all this, he's gonna reveal that that's not even Trinity at all. That's a fake. So what's the point of pretending to shoot her
and do the whole monologue thing?
Yeah, I mean, very long monologue.
It's just
also Neo, who knows
it just doesn't flow, man.
Why is Neo trapped in slow motion?
Yeah, if he's Neo,
he knows it's fake. You can't get trapped in fake slow motion if you know it's fake.
Nope.
That's the whole point of Matrix.
That's the Matrix.
All right. I also don't watch this movie. It's not worth it.
No.
There's a couple things that are funny. Honestly, it's funnier than any other Matrix movie. Those silly joke gags at the beginning with the team that I like making fun of corporate stuff. But that's not worth it. That's not worth the whole thing.
No, it's not.
So, all right. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm at Nick Tazo Drums, at Nick Tazo on Twitter, at Get Trashed Pod on Twitter. Go follow me on Twitter if you have one, please, and share this to somebody else. Jimmy, where can the folks find you?
As I watch the worst scene, you can find me at Sleepy Cowboy TX, at Bad Thrillers TX for the band, and do some comedy at Danger Junior PR.
Very cool. Well, thanks again, Jimmy D.
Absolutely.
For helping me out.
Yes, sir.
Talking some Matrix, watching some Matrix with me. We'll have a drink and watch a little bit more of it.
Hell yeah.
And then, all right, everybody, thanks so much. Have a great week. Like and share and subscribe and tell somebody about it and just do me a favor. And thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Peace.